Bigfoot is very much still around, as a hunter has just came forward about an encounter he had with the beast on December 28, 2024 in Washington. Now, a man named Andrew Baum was perched in a 17-foot high tree stand for hunting when he claims that he saw Bigfoot walking around on the forest floor. It was taking real long strides, his head was kinda down, moving down the hill, it had a big head, I lost it when it walked into the tree line, he said. Now, this happened in the late afternoon, so the sun was still out, and Andrew is convinced that he saw what he saw. He later said, "I know every animal. It was not a bear, it was not a monkey, it was black or even brown in color. I was shocked. A Bigfoot is not something that just pops up in your head," he said. Now, the creature moved rapidly with large, long steps, and it took me a moment to focus my eyes. Then I knew it was too big and moving too fast. A man would have to be running full speed to cross the field that quickly, Andrew said. So, hey, I guess it's a good thing that he was up in that tree when this incident happened. Now, this Reddit user posted their experience they had with Bigfoot this past fall in Wisconsin. They said that they own several hundreds of acres, which includes timber and a marshy swamp/bog, and that throughout the land there are various food plots and deer stands. One day the user went out to check them, and everything seemed normal until they came to one of the plots by the marshy swamp. The food plot had been completely torn up, and there were what appeared to be half-eaten winesap apples everywhere. Now, they realized that a deer couldn't have done this, and then they heard something moving through the swamp at what seemed to be a very brisk walk or jog. They then saw what appeared to be a 400-pound ape-like man rooting around in leafy debris on the ground. This was approximately 75 to 100 yards from where they were standing, so they, and I quote, "stood in fear as I witnessed some type of large humanoid kicking up what appeared to be donkey apples." They continued on by saying, "As I moved in to try to get a closer look, I noticed that this beast was head to toe in what appeared to be long, thick, greasy looking hair. My foot must have snapped a twig because the ape-like creature stood up and sprinted off." Now, after they were sure that the creature had left, they went to where it was and found even more apples. They added that this was one of the craziest experiences in their life and that they now believe in Bigfoot. But honestly, if I had that encounter, I'd believe too. In October 2023, a Bigfoot video filmed in Colorado went viral online. And let me tell you, it had a lot of us convinced. Stenson Parker and his wife Shannon recently took a trip through Colorado to celebrate their 10th anniversary. They boarded the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge railroad and saw something unexpected: Bigfoot. Now, the video, which was taken by a fellow passenger and posted online by Stenson, shows a tall brownish creature walking and squatting before it blends into its surroundings. Now, the footage is zoomed in, making for a grainy video, but to him, Stenson said, the creature didn't look like a human. It didn't move like a person, it looked more like an ape, but it didn't walk like an ape so much. He then added that the creature's arms seemed too long to be human, with its hands reaching down to its knees. It didn't look like anything I've ever seen before, he said. I don't think it was a hoax, and if it was a really good one. Now, this video went absolutely viral online, and many people believe that they saw Bigfoot that day. Now, a hunter once claimed he encountered Bigfoot and unveiled shocking photo proof to the world after setting up cameras outside his house. Craig Sulk really loved hunting with his wife, and to increase the odds of their hunting success, Craig set up a number of trail cams on his land. In 2012, one of the cameras snapped a mysterious figure that didn't appear to be an animal or a human. Now, luckily, Craig was a big fan of the show Finding Bigfoot on Animal Planet, and he knew exactly what he had to do. He reached out to the TV channel and showed the producers the images captured on his cameras. Now, Animal Planet was massively impressed by the fact that Craig had managed to get 3 snaps of the mysterious creature, so they filmed an episode with him. Now, after the episode aired, Craig was suddenly a star, and he was flooded with phone calls and visits from Americans who wanted to share their own bizarre paranormal experiences. Now, Craig and his wife soon opened their land up to the world and let anyone come out and examine the spot where Bigfoot was seen and take pictures and judge for themselves. Imagine trying to have a relaxing weekend at your cottage and then you stumble upon Bigfoot. Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened to this family. The first night, they just heard Bigfoot, or what they believed to be two different Bigfoot creatures, communicating. The man said it was fairly obvious that the sounds were coming from two areas about 15 degrees apart. There was also the noise of wood breaking and banging that was quite loud. We stepped out onto the deck to listen better. It was fairly obvious that one noise was getting closer to the other. The noises were really loud, and it sounded like mayhem was breaking loose, trees being smacked and banging noises, shouts, and whoops. Then it went quiet really quickly, which was followed by a series of deep whooping noises and clicks, which went on intermittently past the point I went to sleep. Now that is just unsettling, but the next day he actually saw one of these creatures. He said, the next day I saw this big black brown thing sitting on a boulder about 20 feet above the water. I thought at first it was a bear, but when a bear sits, its legs just stick out in front slightly splayed. This thing had knees, and it was sitting with its knees up near its chest. I was not sure of what I was seeing, so I looked away and went back at it. I was not mistaken, it had knees and was covered with hair with no neck, and then slapped its hands on the rock about 3 times, both hands at the same time. It looked kind of straggly and matted. It was huge on top like the chest area, but it had scrawny by comparison legs, and the hair on its legs was thinner and lighter. The thing just stood up and walked into a bush behind it. Now, to me, this seems like Bigfoot just wanted to enjoy the cottage views as well. Now, at one point, a Bigfoot sighting actually turned into a federal investigation after a man fired his weapon inside a national park in Kentucky. Brad Ginn told news outlets that he and his girlfriend were camping nearby and were awakened about 1 a.m. by a man with his son. We got out of the tent and saw a man who told us their campsite had been destroyed by someone or something. The man who was with his son showed them the weapon on his hip and told them that the area was popular for Bigfoot sightings. Later they said, "We heard them yelling, 'I see it,'" Brad said. "We saw the flash from his weapon, and he shot maybe 20 yards from the side of our tent into the pitch black darkness." Now after this, Brad and his girlfriend decided to leave and report the incident, and park spokeswoman Molly Schroner said that there was an investigation, but the park was safe to visit. Now the statement did not confirm a Bigfoot sighting, but Molly said that no threat remained in the park. So hey, maybe if you ever do see Bigfoot though, maybe don't try and injure him like that. In March 2022 in Big Sur, California, a hiker spotted a very large footprint. Now they took a picture of it next to their own foot for perspective and shared it on Reddit's Bigfoot page, where commenters discussed if they felt the print belonged to a Sasquatch or if it was nothing. But there were plenty of believers. One person wrote, "This is the first imprint I've seen. That clearly isn't a bear. Good find." While another stated, "I wish the print was more fresh, but this really does look like a Bigfoot track," and a third chimed in saying, "What a solid print," and someone else added, "Definitely Sasquatch." The upper foot impression is relative to the lower within diameter of the depth. I'd reach out to your local Bigfoot field researchers organization in your area ASAP, someone else added. Now it honestly does look huge, and to me, you can even see the toe prints, so it seems pretty convincing to me.